I am live. I'm reading The Laird and the Lady. It's a story about Marylda and Rowan. They met at a French chateau and they went to Paris, and from Paris they have now gone to the Highlands of Scotland, which is Rowan's home. Marylda is an American heiress, but he doesn't know that yet. They fell in love and got married. Chapter 3 of the second part of this book. Georgina, after a few remarks to Marylda, "Was the train late? Did you have a tiresome journey?" ignored her and proceeded to talk to Rowan about estate matters. Rowan, surely was behaving like a caricature of himself, stood by the fireplace eating oatmeal. Apparently he found grouse disease more interesting than ordinary courtesy to his wife. Marylda tried to swallow resentment, with the kidneys and bacon which in obedience to a casual "help yourself" she had found in a silver dish on the serving table. If this was a Highland welcome to the bride, how did they treat the week-end guests? She patted one of the black Labradors, who had left their bench in the corner to greet Rowan, and then had retreated under the table in the hope that the stranger might be unaware that they were being deliberately disobedient. The weight of a black satin hat on her knee was comforting, and she offered a piece of cold bacon, which was politely accepted. At least the dogs were more civil than the hostess. A warm tongue licked her hand, and she responded with the rest of the bacon. "Jock, lassie, corner," said Georgina. "The dogs are not fed at meals," she added, as though explaining rudimentary manners to a child. The Labradors thumped their tails on the carpet and crawled from the shelter of the cloth, trying to pretend they had not done no more than explore a covert, which, in spite of their faithful endeavours, had proved barren. Rowan frowned. Silly of Marylda to invite a snub. She took a cigarette out of her case and waited for him to give her a light. When he remained oblivious, she went to the serving table and lit it from the spirit lamp under the breakfast dishes. Was she supposed to sit at the table until Rowan finished his second boiled egg? "Paper," he said, and offered her the Scotsman. At least it gave her an excuse for silence, and behind it she could take a detailed view of the room. Who could have chosen the dark red wallpaper? Surely even Georgina should have realized it was hideous. 4 large oil paintings displayed a quantity of dead animals, which was the most depressing. The stag, with its back broken, apparently through a fall from a precipice in a fog, or the tangle of birds who improbably shared their beer with 3 salmon. As though this highly coloured mortuary were not enough, the black marble mantelpiece offered a stuffed owl and an equally imperishable stoat with a rabbit in its mouth, both under glass domes. Rowan considered whether he wanted another scone and decided against it. "The first decent breakfast I've had since I left home," he said contentedly. Georgina smiled. "I expect Marylda would like a bath. Take her up to her room, and then we'll go to see Robbie." Clever of her, thought Marylda. I'm to be sent upstairs while the grown-ups discuss matters of importance. "We're in my room?" said Rowan. "No, of course I've given you the Laird's room. Marylda must forgive me if I have left anything of mine in the somewhat hurried move." She smiled acidly. "You did not give me much notice." "Georgina, you shouldn't have changed your room." Rowan was obviously embarrassed. "If you forget, I'm now the dowager. I have more respect for your wife. Your mother naturally had the Laird's room. I returned there only when she died." "But I'm not going to die so conveniently," thought Marylda, and wished she had the courage to speak the words aloud. "Jolly decent of Georgina," said Rowan, as he took Marylda up the great staircase and along a gallery where cadres looked down from their portraits at the new link of their generations. "Of course, I knew she would be pleased as soon as she saw you. But I thought the first day or two might be a bit tricky." "Oh, my darling, are you really so guileless?" said his wife's heart. "Yes, you are, which is one of the reasons why I love you, and must be clever enough to fight for us both." To fight for us both. A woman in a white dress, with a knot of clove carnations in her hand and a lamb at her feet, regarded Marylda from a darkened canvas. "So you are another bride of Cloud," she seemed to say. "You will require the subtlety of carnations and the strength of the lamb, which is the only strength by which they can be disarmed." Rowan was pleased that his wife appreciated the painting. "It's supposed to be a Romany, though it's not signed," he said. "She married my great-great-great-grandfather." They went along a wide corridor ranked with dower chests. Suddenly Marylda felt she was coming to a room that would be a haven against implacable tradition. There would be white furniture, a wardrobe with 3 long mirrors, a dressing table draped with muslin and knots of ribbon, chintz curtains, white chintz with rosebuds in precise gaiety. She paused with her hand on the door. "I know what this room will be like," she said. "I'm coming home." "Of course," said Rowan. "You're my wife." She opened the door. The sunlight was pale between the draperies of green serge that matched the curtains of the massive 4-poster bed. She saw a mahogany wardrobe with Victorian Gothic carving. A dressing table with dual ranks of drawers flanked the heavy mirror. Green wallpaper that clashed with the more virulent greens and yellows of the Axminster carpet. "But this isn't the right room," she exclaimed. "I'm sorry you don't like it," he said stiffly. "I didn't mean that, darling. It was only that I imagined it was going to be different. We can't have it altered a bit," he said, mollified. "Not yet, of course, or Georgina might think we didn't appreciate her gesture in giving it up to us." "We mustn't offend Georgina." The note of bitterness escaped him. "This is our first real bedroom. I was born in it, and so was my father, and Hector." She wanted to ask, "And do all the Cadburys die in it too?" How long would it be before she could make it look like an ordinary, kindly room that belonged to 2 people instead of 2 links in a chain? A rat scuttled across the floor above. She shivered involuntarily. "Cold, darling? I'll see if the water is hot." "No, not cold," she managed to laugh. "Something must have run over my grave." So I stopped this here because the battery is getting empty. And anyway, this is the end of this chapter 3.